Hello, today I'm going to be making an oak branch. So I've been making a couple of new tools in the workshop which I've got some videos on, so I'll put those at the end of the video or whenever, I don't know, you can have a look on my channel or something. I don't really know how YouTube works. Anyway, I've been making two new tools, one of which is the oak leaf tool, which we can stamp veins onto a piece of steel, creating this sort of realistic leaf. The other tool that I've been making is a spring swage for texturing, so this will create a sort of bark texture on a bar, and so I want to use both of these tools to create an oak leaf branch. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. To start off the oak leaf, I make an isolation just using some 10mm bars. And then we begin to draw down the stem leading up to the leaf. I'll knock the corners off so that we've got a little bit of a preform before we stamp the veins in. Using a cross peen, we can spread the material just to gain a little bit more width. Smoothing out the surface to get rid of those cross peen marks. We have the new oak leaf tool clamped down in the anvil. It's got a peg driven through the bottom here so that the tool doesn't move at all. It's not going anywhere, so it doesn't jump, as we're now going to take the bar and punch the veins onto the surface so they're coming out of this bar. So it's a much more realistic sort of a vein. The piece of steel itself wants to be really hot, so almost sparking, and then you come on with a ball peen, so you've got a reduced surface area contact, so you can really force the material into the veins, and you have to watch it so that this doesn't jump, as even though the tool isn't going to jump, your top bar can still jump, and then you'll get a double vein. And once you have a double vein, there's nothing you can do really to get rid of that. So you just have to be careful, watch that this doesn't jump, and that you don't, if it does jump, you don't hit it. Clean the scale out of the tool itself as well, because that gets in the way of the veins. We've got the middle vein stamped in there, and I can now take another heat and work the outer edges so we've got those veins fading out towards the end of the leaf. The veins are stamped in, I'll leave it to cool down, and then we can cut the shape of the oak leaf into it. Time to put a little bit more shape into the leaf. We'll do this just with a pair of scrolling tongs. The oak leaf is finished, but I want to weld this onto a branch so we can then do the branch texturing on that piece and make it all fancy. But to do that, I'll cut it off from this rectangular bar, create a scarf so we can weld it onto a round bar, and then get all that fire weld nice and flush and flowing and a bit of a taper on the piece, and then we can put the branch texturing onto it. We have a nice taper now leading down to the oak leaf. I've got this spring swage. It has these textured dies with just straight chisel lines going along, and so we can put that bar in there, hammer on it and texture up the branch. We'll then do a slight reverse twist on it just to give it a bit more sort of twisted oak look almost, with a bit of a reverse twist. This tool also has a peg going through the shank, and so it's not moving anywhere. It's nice and clamped down so I don't have to hold it. Which again, these pegs are really useful just to clamp things down to an anvil so they don't move anywhere. It makes it much safer and just much easier to use. So let's use it. You see, we've got a bit of a sort of more flowing grain pattern. There's the texturing, and you can see how it sort of flows with that twist going down the bar. Anyway, I think it adds a little bit to it. Rather than it just being straight grain, it has a bit more sort of flow on it. I'll spiral this up into something that looks a bit more fancy, just so it has a bit more form, really, and for fun, I suppose. So, as I said at the start of the video, I've done other videos on making the two tools that I used in this. So I'll link those around the place. If they're out, I don't really know yet. So if you want to watch those, please feel free to do. It's all, you know, I want to try and make it as easy as it can be for you to try and make these things in your workshop, or even if you're just interested in it, you can have a look at how we actually make the tools, as blacksmithing is all about tools to make tools. You know, it's all about, you have a problem, You got to think of a way to get around that problem to make something, and a lot of the time the way to do that is to make a tool, and so you have to have those skills, and that's sort of what I like about blacksmithing. It's the problem solving to create a product which hopefully a client or whoever, a buyer, is happy and values what I make as a blacksmith, as a craftsman. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed watching me trying to make this oak leaf branch. I know that the shape isn't really quite realistic with all of these loops and things, but it was just sort of my imagination and quite a fun little shape to have a go at making. Anyway, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in a bit.